Alright, all you monkeys probably don't know how to even play this game we're about to raid, so here's a short training fucking tutorial, whatever. Sadly, this game ain't trade land, so the ships are actually kind of hard to control. First, the captain can only control the steering, so basically the captain can only move the ship left or right. He can also press K to run the cannons out or in. That's for combat or not combat mode, basically. When you run the cannons out, you can start shooting them, but when they're in, you can't shoot them. It's because if you shoot a cannon, your ship will be combat locked, and if your ship is combat locked, nobody can spawn on it. So to prevent misfires, you run them in. Now, how do you move the ship? Great fucking question. You use the fucking sails. Now, you don't deploy them all at once. You gotta deploy them individually. And on each of those wooden pillars on the right side, you can deploy sails. Now, these big sails are what I call big sails. I know they're not called big sails, but I'm not a fucking seaman. I'll call them whatever the fuck I want. You deploy them to get speed. I don't think I have to explain that. And the more you have deployed, the faster you go. Now, if you want to go even further beyond, you can go ahead and deploy those stay sails, are what I call triangular sails, because they're triangular. Now, these sails will give you extra speed, but they will tilt your ship towards the wind. So just know that, I guess. Now, if you want to go even further, you can tilt the big sails towards the wind so that you ride the wind current. And to do that, you have those two ropes on the side that you can use to angle your sails. And basically, if you hear like a poof sound, it means that your sails are catching the wind and that you're going at the maximum speed. Alright, here's a small rundown of where all the sails are, like where you deploy it. Alright, now if you want to go slower, or if you want to stop completely, you gotta raise the sails. And usually, if you want to raise a sail, it's at the same place, but on the left. And you're gonna see the little E icon, and you click that, you're gonna raise the sails, and your ship will move slower or stop moving. And that's it. That's how you drive a ship. Alright, now I'll show you guys how to blow shits up. You have two types of cannons, the small PP gun and the bigger PP gun. The smaller guns are on the top deck and the bigger guns are on the bottom deck. Now the small guns, they deal like no damage at all, they tickle, meaning that most of the big boy damage comes from the big boy guns. Now you have different types of ammunitions as well. The powder charge is required for all shots because you need powder to... Okay, you know what I mean. You put that shit in first, alright? The round shot is the standard shots that deals the most damage. The chain shots are shots you fire at enemy ships to tear their sails, so you can reduce their speed because there's a big ass hole in their sail. The hot shots are basically fire bombs. I know it sounds very cool, but they're actually really bad. They deal like almost no damage, but have a small chance of lighting the enemy ship on fire. You can also use them as a tracer round to see where your fucking cannonballs are going. So basically, to summarize, only use the round shot on the big boy guns because you need to deal big boy damage, and use the chain shot and the hot shot on the smaller guns because they deal no damage anyway, so why not tear a big ass hole on the enemy ship's sail and commit some arson, you know what I mean? If I fucking catch you use the chain shot or the hot shot on the big guns, I'll personally kick your fucking ass. Alright, now I'll teach you guys how to use the cannons. You press E to fire. Once you're done with that, to reload the gun, you go to the ammo crate, you take some powder, take the type of shot that you need to fire, walk to the cannon, have the powder charge in your hand, press E, have the ammunition in your hand, press E to load the round, then press E again to yeet the cannon out. Then you do the same thing all over again. Now, you cannot move the cannon left or right. They're fixed on that position. It is the captain's job to move the ship and all the cannons all together to aim. But you can change the elevations to determine how far the ball goes. So for the upper deck of this ship, you go to here, then you can change the elevations of the upper deck cannons. And for the lower deck, there's like these two planks. That's where you change the elevations of the lower deck cannons. Usually in battle, there's usually like two guys who are responsible for elevation and the captain who's responsible for aiming. If you're just a normal cannoneer, all you have to do is just to load the gun and fire when told to. Do not fire the gun when you're not told to because likely you're just wasting shots. Because unless all the cannons on the ship have perfect elevations, if you just shoot randomly, you're gonna miss. So please listen to the order and do not fire when not talked to. Now, if you're a starter, you'll be usually responsible for 1 or 2 cannons, and if you get good at it, maybe 3. And here's a really good tip, alright? If you go up to your inventory up here, you can move your tools to make space for your shots and for the powder. So you don't have to go and click 5 or 6 every time you try to load a gun. You know, you can just press 1 or 2 instead. It's way easier. And that's it. That's the basic of blowing shits up.
Left click, press F, and then aim where you want, fire. Very simple. And then reload. Simple as that. B for bayonet. K is for running. And if you don't like running, you can always just use sign that.
But Jotaro. Cock and ball toward.
Doing the British is very important because boarding and shit. So what you can do when you're Britishing is by blocking, which will stop all enemy attacks, and it will stun you for a bit if you are the one attacking. What you can do is by pressing F, which will kill the block, and then you can attack them. Another way you can do it is by when they're blocking and you can't kick them, you can just simply go around them, and then you can hit their backside because blocks can only stop the front attacks. Now the problem is, when they have a bayonet, you can't reach them with your saber. And if you don't have a musket of your own with the bayonet equipped, then there's a trick for you. The third animation cycle is always the jabbing animation, and it will reach them, definitely. So, just always wait for that third animation, and it's the jabbing animation. A good tip for utilizing the jabbing animation is that since it's always going to be the third animation cycle, you can plan to attack and then back off so they don't get a chance to attack you back. It's perfect for giving in damage, but they can't damage you back. This is what you do when your ship gets shot and is taken in water. First, you kill tankfish. Very important rule. Number 2. You get wooden planks which are located below deck in the barrel. Number 3, you go to the hole and you patch up by GUI by pressing E. And then the last but not least, you use the water pump to remove excess water. That's it. After decimating the port, you can now plunder its belongings. In order to do that, you have to swim to the actual port, and you have to go to the brown building that with an elongated sides. Go to the man, take whatever is inside, preferably gold and spice and tea. Those are the top 3 from left to right. And then you just go back to your ship and then put that shit in the storage area located below deck.